Hello, this is Bernie Burns.
And Jeff Fink.
We're for the popular web series, Red vs. Blue. We are going to be the two pompous assholes who talk about how great we are for the next hour and a half.
I don't think you're so great.
Well, I'll be talking about how great I am, and you can talk about whatever you'd like. This is the director's commentary, also featuring Jeff.
Hey, look at you with the jokes.
This intro that you're looking at right here, this is a new intro, special for the DVD. The initial one, the original one that we had on the website, was action-based. It had a bunch of shooting, had a bunch of running around, and it had a Limp Bizkit song. And none of it really seemed to fit the series once we got going with the series, which is, more with, situational humor and things like that. Not a whole lot of action, so we decided to change it up for the DVD. Something a little more appropriate, and something that didn't cost like $15,000 to get the music for.
Yeah.
That's also a positive.
You also threw a text in, which kind of ruins the surprise of... Maybe I shouldn't mention that for people that haven't seen it yet.
I don't think anyone's going to listen to the commentary before they watch the movie, though, do you?
That's not how that works?
I don't think that's how that works.
Okay.
So I kind of ruin what he's getting at there is we kind of ruin the surprise that Tex is a woman character later. This first shot here is a great example of some of the challenges that we face doing Red vs. Blue. Besides staying up all night on Thursdays doing this stuff for 6 months straight. But that first shot there is, 5-6 seconds, and it took us about 45 minutes to shoot it.
Yeah.
Because the way that we do this stuff is we shoot this with Xboxes and the great Bungie game Halo. And, Bungie, the developers that are owned by Microsoft, they just made a fantastic world for us to do this, to do all these videos in. And what we do is we basically take a multiplayer game where Griff, the orange guy here, and Simmons, the maroon guy right there, they're just players in the game. But also there's a third player that you're not seeing, and that's the cameraman. And you're looking through the eyes of the cameraman, literally, where we just position him wherever we want to have the shot, run him around, and in the case of that first shot, we literally stood him on the turret of the tank, which is another vehicle in the game, and slowly raised the tank turret to emulate a crane shot. And that's kind of the stuff we had to do all along when making these videos, is try creative ways to do it, because on a PC game, you can have a flying camera, you can shoot it all around and things like that, but we were actually limited by the actual physics of the game engine because we were on an Xbox.
Now that you describe it, it doesn't sound like 45 minutes worth of work.
No, it doesn't. But, it was funny because... if you move the turret too fast, it would treat, the characters as if he'd been run over by the tank, or he'd fall off to the left or fall off to the right. And,
we weren't very good back then either.
I wouldn't really describe it as 45 minutes of work either. Work's a pretty heavy term for this kind of stuff. Of course, if you ask me at 3:30 in the morning on a Friday, when we have about 4 hours left before we have to put it up.
And go to work.
And then go to work, our day jobs, then I might say it was work then. And, we had to, writing-wise, one of the challenges we had is that all these guys are identical. I mean, we have Tucker here, who's Aqua. We have Church, who's Cobalt. But really, the only way you can differentiate between these guys is their colors. And in the case of Sarge and Simmons and Donut, I mean, they're pretty much all the same color, really. I mean, if you can tell the difference between maroon and red, you're better off than I am. Unless they're standing next to each other, then you can tell.
I don't think we'd actually cast Matt until episode 2. At the end of episode 1 there, that was actually you saying ladies front and center initially, and we replaced it. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that changed from episode 1. We initially had some of the shots with Griff and Simmons. Griff was on top of blue base, and Simmons was on top of red base, and we didn't think anybody would notice. I liked the lighting better for Griff's shot on top of blue base, but people knew the geography, and they could see the logos in the background, and boy, they went nuts.
Yeah, we had to go back and change it.
Yeah, we had to go back and add Matt's voice in to change Sarge. That was kind of the catch-all, really. I mean, if we couldn't cast somebody, like even Tex later, I mean, I played the voice of Tex and then played the voice of Lopez, but it wasn't because of anything other than just time and the fact that, we needed to get it done, that's all.
Yeah.
And it worked out playing the voice of Lopez because, I ended up, my character Church ended up taking over the body of Lopez at the end of the season.
Our new recruit will be here within the week, but today we received a
But I think Matt did a great job. Matt Hullum is the guy that plays Sarge, and it's a pretty typical character for especially a military comedy. You have the gruff sergeant character. Even in a serious military movie, it's a pretty stereotypical character. But man, he did a lot with it.
You know what I find that's interesting about that is we get a ton of emails from fans who ask if we have military experience and say, "Wow, you guys really nailed it down. Some of you guys had to have been in the Army or the Marines." And I'm the only one that actually was in the military. I don't write the series; you write it. You just watch a lot of Army movies?
I'm just brilliant, I think. I think being, and I have the
Oh.
entire military backing up that statement. So
There you go.
I'm confident in saying that. Yeah, it's just, it's a lot of the military style jokes are just, you use, bureaucracy humor. It's like office humor or anything else. It's just a lot more structured in the military, so it's fun to play with it even more there. But to make a joke about reports and things like that, or management structure, it all plays across different things. Just happens that this is a military comedy.
You have no idea what you're talking about, do you?
I like using the word bureaucracy a lot. That was fun. It's a very long word, and I feel intelligent saying it.
You should explain the story behind the warthog and the puma and the tusks.
Oh yeah, that is the story. This particular episode. We're in the middle of episode 2 here. When we did the series online, each of these segments was really done as an individual episode every week, and that's why you'll see fade outs in between them. But this episode 2, the discussion about the warthog was really the spark for the whole series. We played these games a lot. We played FPS games. In particular, we played Halo to death. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And the warthog itself is probably the best addition I've ever seen to a video game genre ever. I mean, Halo's a great first-person shooter, but the fact that it has vehicles that you can actually drive, and you can shoot and things like that, it was a huge part of Halo and why it was such a successful game. And there was just a discussion we had one day where we talked about the warthog and why did they call it the warthog when it looks like
Absolutely nothing like a warthog, more like a puma.
it looks more like a cat. And then the discussion about the toe hooks came up and the tusks, and that must be why they called it the warthog.
Do we ever check with Bungie to find out if that's correct?
No, I don't think. No, we never did. You wonder if maybe they called it the warthog and then added the tusks or the toe hooks to make it look like that, or maybe we're reading into it. I don't really know for sure why they called it the warthog, but
We could just be stupid.
I think it looks like a puma personally.
Hey, that's not exactly what happened. Yes, it is.
I like a donut. Look at that sly entrance
Look at
right
this.
there.
Yeah, that was sly. That was me, by the way. Thank you.
Sidestepping in.
This is our first inside joke. Wasn't the last, but we tried to cut the inside jokes down. The
Yes,
Vegas quadrant.
yes.
However, maybe we should explain that for people that aren't familiar with Red versus Blue in a more intimate manner, or any of our previous.
So you're
sites.
gonna cue me on stuff to explain, or you're gonna explain anything yourself?
All right, I'll explain. We went to E3. Bernie, the ugly gentleman sitting next to me, Gus, the character Simmons, and I went to E3 for an old website we did called drunkgamers.com, which we really don't need to go into. A huge failure. Regardless, we went to E3 2 years ago. Met up with Matt and Joel, Sarge and Caboose, funnily enough, friends of yours from college.
Right.
And decided we wanted to go to Vegas. But Gus got a little drunk.
Right, we live in
that
Austin,
night.
and
Yeah.
it's like 24 hours to
Guess
drive
we
to
should
Vegas, but
explain
it's
that.
only 6 hours to drive from Los Angeles. So why not go to Vegas?
Why not go to Vegas? And Gus took exception to that.
Yes, he did.
Decided he didn't want to go to Vegas. I guess we pushed the issue too hard.
That's stretching.
That's
it a bit.
debatable.
Yeah.
But regardless, we were getting a dinner at a Carl's Jr. in the drive-thru, and Gus finally, I literally flipped out, opened the van. We had to rent a van, and took off into the night.
Like East LA Compton.
Yeah,
or something.
amidst hookers and crack dealers, and just disappeared. And when we got back to our hotel that night, we had a note that said, "See you in Austin, Gus."
That's right.
And he ended up not going back to
He
Austin.
literally went screaming
He
off
walked
into the
across the
night.
street
He's gonna
to the
hate that
hotel.
we're talking about this,
Yeah.
by the way.
But that's the genesis of that joke. That's where that comes from for those that
Yeah, of why he didn't want to go to the Vegas quadrant,
and we still to this day don't understand why he didn't want to go to Vegas.
and he can't explain it either. So.
And he'll get mad if you ever see him and bring it up.
And in this shots here, we have introduced a teleporter as well in the background that we set up for future episodes. Now this is the Red's teleporter. It's the blue teleporter that we use extensively later in the series, but we never established whether or not the Red teleporter works the way it should. But I'm assuming it's the same technology, so
Yeah,
maybe we'll explore that more in season 2.
maybe we will.
Get going then.
Another running joke there,
There you
where
go.
Donut never knows where he's going.
Just got to turn around, that's all.
This
Now,
shot.
okay.
This shot took us an hour.
I knew you were gonna laugh about that because it's just hard to explain. That's one of those moments where it's just late at night. It was towards the end of an episode, and it's like 4:30 in the morning, and it was just over and over and over again on one shot. And you would think that, getting guys to like run into a frame with a tank in the background, shooting them explosions and all the action stuff, you would think that would be the hard shots. The hardest shots are when a guy's got to come into the frame, hit his mark, hit a certain spot, in the camera shot, and stand there and just deliver a line. That's the hardest thing there is to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you're shooting a normal film, it's amazing how much of this they call it machinima is what we're doing, where we're using a pre-rendered game engine to just act out these pieces that we write. And it's amazing. I've worked on actual live action films before, and it's so similar because you have actors say, okay, come in here, hit this mark, deliver this line, look in this direction. And that's 90% of our work in shooting this stuff. Like just having Church move forward there, stop in a certain place, and we don't have to worry about things like focus and things like that because the game engine takes care of all that. But just making eye lines right and things like that, just really hard, really hard.
So I guess now we're a couple seconds into episode 4 here. Is that where we are?
Yeah.
Make sure I'm keeping up.
And we're about 12 minutes in, including the intro, so you can see how much longer our episodes got towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
They were like, minute and a half, 2 minutes when we first started.
So Caboose is a very different character here early on in the series, I think. Do you get that at all?
No, Caboose had no character when we started at all. Caboose
He seemed kind of smarmy to me.
Well, he had the whole line about the tank, putting the guns the guns on the ship.
And then the whole why get the milk when you can eat a cow for a... I don't know.
Well, he was just kind of he was kind of like a catalyst for getting Church pissed off, which was, fun to yell and scream. But Caboose came in just really as a compliment to Donut. Reds get a Jeep, Blues get a tank, Reds get a rookie, Blues get a rookie as well. It was a way to kind of introduce all the characters. But Donut, we had a path for. We knew what Donut was going to do. Yeah. We know the pink armor thing, which happens way later in the series. That was actually one of the first jokes we wrote. Yeah. We just needed to find a way to get him into the pink armor.
I remember when we planned out all the jokes, what we had planned for the series, when we sat down and came up with kind of funny things we could do with what we had available in Halo. I think that we had planned for the whole series to take 6 to 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And the pink armor to be the last episode.
Yeah.
I remember getting to episode 8 and realizing we hadn't done, a third of what we wanted to do.
Right.
It's amazing how it flushed out.
Yeah, we really had to pace ourselves because, we only had 4 vehicles that we could use. Or actually 3 vehicles because one of them is not available in multiplayer.
Yeah.
We only had so many colors of armor. We only had so many maps that we could work in. We only had so many objects, so many weapons, things like that. So we had to pace ourselves out. I loved yelling that line, by the way. And so we had to pace ourselves in terms of what we introduced and things like that. And we didn't want to, introduce them all in the first 2 episodes. So the pink armor joke kind of got pushed and pushed and pushed just so that it wouldn't be muddled up with everything else at the beginning of the series of, oh, he's got pink armor, it's another in-game engine joke.
You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head in agreement with you. There you go.
Another challenge here is that here are Caboose and Donut. We specifically chose them to be blue and red so that we could have shots of them with the flag.
Yeah.
This is a specific challenge with the game engine because we cannot have this flag, we cannot have this object in the same shot as anyone who's not blue or red, because this is a team game in Halo, and capture the flag is you have to have blue guys and red guys, and that's it. And so this is the, I guess, classic red versus blue scene right here, because it's literally red versus blue right here. It's also the reason why we didn't introduce Donut as the pink character to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, enough gabbing out of us. Let's take this bad boy out for a spin. Go ahead and hop in, Tucker.
See, this is the military joke. I mean, this is
the
you have the bureaucracy of who are the guys giving them this tank if they don't have certification to drive the thing in the first place.
No? Holy crap! Who is running this army?
Hey! Just wanted to let you know, the general stopped by and picked up the flag.
Yeah, okay. Whatever,
I like this joke
moron.
because it's...
Why
In
would
real
they
life,
give
it's
us
kind of
a
like I'm
tank?
Caboose, and I tell you
Nobody
things, and
here
you
knows
don't
how to
listen to
drive
me
this
or
thing.
ever pay attention to me.
Wait a second.
It hits home with
What
me.
did he just
Well,
say?
it's like a 5-second delay when you tell me something and later I pick it up.
Let me get this
Church is very realistic like that. Actually, Church, people always ask us if we're like our characters in any way. And Caboose, who is played by Joel Heyman, he is incredibly stupid person, so he's pretty close. But
Yeah, I'd have to go with that.
the only person who's really close to a character is Church. Is a lot like Gus in that Gus will yell for no particular reason and get mad and be, talk down to people.
Refuse to go to Vegas. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, refuse to go to Vegas.
Gus
So,
is the most angry person I've ever met, next to my wife.
so it's what I model the character of Church when I play him after Gus as much as possible. But I gotta say, out of the whole bunch, Joel is the only one who is a professional actor. Joel actually lives in L.A., works in L.A., and makes a living totally on acting, which very enviable lifestyle, I have to say.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What
He's been to parties with Kerry Russell.
I think.
Oh, crap.
What do I have a feeling I'm going to cut that from the commentary? I have a feeling that's going to be lost in the editing.
Yeah.
We have a running joke back from Drunk Gamers, which is that Bernie loves Felicity.
Bernie
So-
loves Felicity. Bernie and my wife, they get together and have little Felicity parties on the Wii channel where they watch it.
This is definitely going to be cut, I think, from it.
Porter, we'll cut him off at the pass.
Is it too emasculating for you there, honey?
Well, I would like to say that I think J.J. Abrams is a tremendous writer and director. That's all. And we'll just leave it at that. You should watch Alias Sunday nights on ABC. My favorite moment, the whole series, right here.
Remember?
We threw rocks.
Because we were so limited in the game engine. Can I say the word game engine more?
Yeah, you make it sound like a bad thing, though.
No.
It's a great game engine.
I'm just trying to make it seem like we had lots of hardships, so we're very intelligent for overcoming obstacles and things like that. But we couldn't show certain things. There's like jokes that we wanted to show. Like I'd love to show Tucker and Caboose and Church. A flashback to them actually throwing rocks to the teleporter, but there's just no way to do it in the game engine because they can't pick up a rock.
Thanks, Bungie.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, thanks for nothing. We can't even get them to drop their weapons, much less pick up a rock. So I just think it's fun to create in the writing. You have to create these situations where you can just envision Church and Tucker being so damn bored that they actually throw rocks to the teleporter just to test it because there's nothing to do out there in the middle of this box canyon.
And you just hit the military right there. It's just boring.
It's just
5 years in the Army that I spent was just boring. Absolutely head on.
And I really think out of everything that we worked with, I think we gave the teleporter more personality than anything else. The fact that it hurts you, that it's slow, and that it turns you black when you come out is funny.
The teleporter and the tank, the inanimate objects, we gave the most personality to.
Yeah, having fun with the vehicles and the weapons and things like that was probably the most fun. Even more fun than writing the characters.
Do you ever notice how the warthog is strategically?
Oh,
there
there's
you go.
Lopez dancing in the background.
Lopez dancing. That was a Tucker improvisation.
Improvisation.
There you go.
This was, we forget it now because we're 8 episodes or 9 episodes past it, but there was on our forums, which is where viewers would come and leave messages and things like that. There was a madness about Tex, who was in the original intro, and Tex had the cloaking. Tex's character was invisible. And people would swear up and down that they could see Tex in every single episode.
Yeah.
And that shot of Lopez dancing in the background, people would just go nuts saying that had to be Tex in the background.
And they would come up with screenshots of where they thought they saw Tex in certain episodes, and it was so fun to us to just watch it that we never came in and said no, Tex really isn't in any of these.
Tex isn't in there.
It's just-
We actually thought about adding Tex in.
We did think about adding Tex in. By the way, I wanted to say I liked your explanation of what a forum is a few seconds ago.
I try to help out in any way that I can.
For anyone that's still living in 1994.
Will you stop calling me a sergeant? I'm still
At least I didn't explain what the internet was.
Private? Oh my god.
Time.
Teleporter sent me back
I would have
That
in
line
time.
drives you crazy.
Yeah.
Lopez. We need
Oh, there's a shot right there. That's the 2 different colors. We talked earlier about the capture the flag being a team game. Likewise, the Warthog in the game had rules to it that you couldn't have 2 people of different colors in the Warthog. And so that shot back there where Griff is in the driver position, Simmons is in the gunner position, that was actually a shot that we had to do in Adobe Premiere, which is the program that we use to edit all of this. And it's one of the few shots that we did that was post-production fixed.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that we did, we kind of set ground rules for ourselves where...
That was the first shot.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it was the first post-production.
Besides the intro stuff that we did. But, don't correct me in front
In front of
all these people.
The 6 people.
But we we made rules for ourselves where we said we were only going to do stuff in the engine that people could replicate, so that there's no super fancy CG shots or anything like that. And we did it because we wanted people to be able to emulate everything we did in game, and also because it was hard, and we didn't want to do anything hard.
You just missed the warthog flying over the cliff playing the Tejano music, which might be the most popular shot in the whole series.
I like the Tejano music.
It's a great shot, and might look difficult first take.
Yeah,
we got that on
first take, and there's a shot later with the warthog that we'll get to, but it's like it's an extremely hard shot, but it was really easy to get.
This is one of my favorite shots in the series because I like the way the bullets ricochet off and we framed them.
Yeah.
And I thought we did a great job there, and I thought it added a lot of action. Put the episode out, went to the forums. Some kid immediately talked about how boring they were and how they were just standing around doing nothing.
Like here, the
and how
casings flying into the camera.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to strangle myself.
Well, this is one of those things that we didn't even know was in the game. The casings flying off the machine gun until we were shooting Red vs. Blue, and then we thought, well, look at this cool, all these copper casings flying. Let's try to use it in the shot. We know more. I probably know more about this game engine than I would ever hope to know, like limitations and things like that. Like you don't see it a lot, but one of our biggest frustrations making the game is if you leave the cameraman idle for 15 seconds, he raises the gun and starts messing with it as an idle animation. And it's pretty cool when you're playing the game. It's a neat little feature. When you're doing something like Red vs. Blue, enormous pain in the ass.
Huge pain in the ass.
Yeah. It just, that gun would come right up in the frame, and you'd see the cameraman's hands fiddling with it and stuff.
I think the biggest challenge was working with Jason.
Yeah, the guy who plays Tucker. Yeah, he...
I didn't mention it earlier, but the scene where we drove away from Lopez, in the Warthog, you'll look and you'll see there's a big blood stain on the ground. That's typical of the series. If you look around, there'll be a lot of explosions and blood spots where there aren't supposed to be, because Tucker liked to blow people up in between shots.
Yeah, probably another big challenge is the fact that by default, the grenade trigger would go off all the time. You'd set down a controller and we'd throw a grenade. And because we're looking down at the ground, we'd have this shuttle lined up, and somebody would throw a grenade right at everybody else's feet and scatter them halfway across the map and leave bloodstains everywhere and things like that. Not something that typically happens in a normal film shoot.
Right. And not a lot.
A grenade going off.
And here we have the intro to Sheila.
Her name is Yomari. She's a professional actress that was very nice to do the voice of Sheila the Tank. And we go back to that, the earlier we talked about Lopez and the bloodstain. That Tejano music is actually different than it was in the episode because we could not find the Tejano artist who actually made the song we used for the internet version, because we taped it off of a Taco Cabana Muzak speaker. We went to Taco Cabana as a break one day and brought the video camera and just literally taped off a speaker that music. And we wanted to license it. I'm sure we could probably get that for relatively cheap, but we had no idea who made it.
How do you find out? Yeah.
And surprisingly, there's not a lot of people who can research Tejano music.
For posterity's sake, I got the Super Tex-Mex meal that day without guacamole, and I think you got chicken tacos.
I got the chicken tacos, which is what I always get. Thank you.
I don't know if is Cabana a big chain, or are people gonna know what that is?
Nope. Like 2 pesos. And by the way, your story earlier, I didn't want to correct you, but we weren't at a Carl's Jr., we were at a Del Taco.
We were at a Carl's Jr.
No, we're at Del Taco.
Yeah, I'm correct.
I remember spending forever trying to figure out, okay, now we've got Tucker in the black armor. How do we get him back into the aqua armor? And there was just was never a convenient time to do it. And I just thought, okay, now's the time, but just could never stop for 5 seconds to breathe so that he could wipe off his armor. Why do you hate that?
I don't know. It just looks bad to me.
I purposely put the pistol in that shot because I thought it looked like a tank turret.
Yeah, it doesn't look anything like a tank turret.
Well, I mean, it's,
Maybe a space tank turret.
I adjusted it here in this next episode. I adjusted it down some later when they're running.
I like this...
Here's an example of very simple stuff we do in post-production. I mean, that's just in Premiere. We just slapped a posterized filter on that, or a solarized, or something like that.
I like the way the scene plays out because it's very true to life. Gus and I are very good friends, but I would sell him out in a second.
Absolutely, especially if your life was in danger.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Give me a chance. I'm asking somebody. Give me a chance.
Okay, on 3. Here.
I think we cut some stuff here. There was originally more with Caboose talking and trying to turn stuff on and off inside the tank, and it just didn't work, so we cut it.
He really should have died there.
See, I put the turret down a little bit for you there.
Oh shit, 2.
Target locked.
By the way, I thought your breathing was really silly.
Everyone, I think it was inspired breathing personally.
Firing main cannon.
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch!
That's acting. Did you hear Griff there?
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
he sounded scared for his life. Now, see that shot. See, you look at shots like that, and with the explosion that close to the camera, that's a tough shot because half the time we ended up blowing up the cameraman.
Oh, there's a shot coming up that took forever because we kept blowing up Griff and Simmons.
Yeah.
Behind the rock.
Yeah.
Here. Oh, what a nightmare.
Yeah, we must have killed them about 40 or 50 times. In fact, I think we had an outtake for this as well.
Yeah.
Great plan, you idiot!
That was the first time Gus sounded like Gus to me in the series.
Great plan, you idiot.
Yeah.
Acquiring
That's-
new target.
That's pretty much his tone with me all the
Tucker,
time.
look at this, man. It's the rookie. And he brought the tank out to scare off the Reds.
What? No way!
This was an inspired moment in the series. This is the moment that Church dies because we, to give the characters more personality, we wanted to change one of them. I thought, well, we could make one of the characters a ghost somehow, and it'll give them that much more personality.
And
Well,
take that much more time to do.
turned out to be one of the toughest decisions that we ever made because Church stayed as a ghost for 10 episodes after this, and it was so much more effort to make him half opaque, or half transparent the whole time.
Holy fuck!
It was just
Church,
tough.
Are you okay? Talk to me.
I really like it. See how the gravel comes down in the background? That's another just great thing in the game engine. That if you shoot the wall, the gravel comes flying down, and we just had to use it. I also like the shake. When Simmons and Griff are behind the rock, you want to get close enough to the explosion where you get that really cool shake that the developers of the game made.
We use that as much as possible. in the
Yeah,
series.
it's just really cool. But you also, you don't want to get too close and get blown up.
I don't know if you remember, we talked a lot about maybe Tucker would actually shoot Church to death.
Yes.
We decided against it, which I think was a great decision. But
I think it was good.
Yeah.
That hurt. Blah.
What happened?
That was a joke that became a signature. The death rattle of Church.
was that I wanted to ask, was that modeled after Pee Wee Herman and Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No.
Very
Oh, you mean where he
similar.
dies and dies and
Yeah,
dies?
Kind of a funny scene.
Where's your car?
That's funny where he kicks the wall.
Patton here had a great strategy to leave it behind.
No, all my ideas are totally original.
It would've worked if that tank hadn't shown up. You
I'm not inspired by anyone.
Oh man, Lopez is gonna be.
This is the one episode I didn't do. I wasn't here for the video of this one.
Ah, that shot right there. That's the one we were talking about earlier. That shot of flipping the Warthog up onto the base and getting it to slide right in front of Griff, that took 4 takes. I mean, it probably took about maybe 4 or 5 minutes to get that done. And that's a shot you'd think would take hours and hours and hours just to get all that placement right. And sometimes, I tell you, just get lucky. And we
Yeah.
just got lucky, and that's all there is to it.
By the way, another testament to how great this engine is. Caboose actually moves his head when he's inside the tank,
Yeah.
because when the turret moves, his head moves. That's why we cut the top of the turret off.
Yep.
But I was really happy with that.
Yep.
It was a nice surprise.
This is probably the only shot right here that we use from the actual single-player portion of the game. And it's like a 3.5-second shot that we had to keep using over and over and over again.
We're coming up on the line that I had to say it, I think, over 3 days, like 1,000 times, because I couldn't get it right.
Actually, sir, things are kind of hectic right now.
Oh, the long line? Yeah,
Couldn't get that line.
long lines are tough. Well, nobody's a professional actor on this thing, so
Except
it's
for Joel.
Except for Joel, sorry. Except for Joel. So we can give Joel long lines, but, nobody else we can give really long lines to. Matt, who plays Sarge, he can ad-lib and ad-lib and ad-lib, but we have to, work with it and cut it up, and Matt and I talk about, what worked and what didn't. I remember there was one episode where Matt had 4 lines. I think it was, episode 18. And for just 4 lines, we had 58 minutes of recorded dialogue when we finished.
That's because Matt is talented, and the rest of us, for the most part, aren't.
Yeah, 4 lines in 58 minutes. That's how I would describe talent.
I was very excited about this when we did it. This is very bold for us at the time.
Sheila, will you please open the door?
The shake is nice. Yeah, that's a bombing run of Sarge, coming in with the Pelican is the name of that ship, and making a bombing run on the tank, on Sheila.
Flipping the tank first take, by the way.
Yeah, flipping the tank was the first take as well. But that bombing run, the way we did it was we just threw grenades in, but we had to do, edit them together. So we actually did you know, I think there's like 12 different shots there, and then we just dissolve them into one another, so you still get the, you know, the dust from one while you're seeing the explosion for the next one.
This is the episode where Caboose finally starts to become a colossal idiot.
Yeah, it's just, this is the slow decline of Caboose's intelligence.
And also another nice like trick we were able to do with the series that I was always really pleased with is we shot Sheila's light with the pistol, and it made the sparks.
Yes.
Like she was talking. Very innovative. I wish it was my idea.
Alpha, do you read me?
Okay, that is the last of it. Your armor is clean now.
Did you get all the black stuff off?
Now this part, Blue Command, is played by a guy by the name of Randall Glass, and Randall made a very inspirational video early on.
Inspirational to us, certainly.
Yeah, called the Warthog Jump, and that's where what he did was he exploited the physics engine. The cool thing about Halo, it's got this incredible physics engine. The shot that we did, where the Warthog flips up onto the base and slides in front of Griff, that is really kind of an homage to what he did. He did this thing where he would line up about a dozen grenades and launch the Warthog, you know, thousands of feet up into the air. It's a very cool video, and it's on his website, which I think is warthogjump.com.
Yeah. I remember the first time we saw that, we probably spent, I don't know, 6 straight hours of just trying to do what he did.
Yep.
Figure out how he did it, yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things where, you know, that he, when he did that video, I mean, it just spawned, you know, probably hundreds of videos that were just identical to that. You know, with people doing the exact same thing, or people trying to then go into Halo and exploit the game engine, and then eventually, you know, we followed suit, you know, and did you know, exploited the game engine, but did it in a way that was more you know, narrative way.
Here's the ghost. In the beginning of longer and longer nights filming.
Yes, the way we did Church was we would shoot, like, say the shot of the base there, we would shoot one shot with Church talking, and then remove him from the scene without moving the cameraman, and shoot the plate, and then just dissolve them 50% or 65%, depending on how transparent we wanted Church to be in that scene. It was easy, but, you know, it made it impossible to do it with somebody else in the shot.
It's very time-consuming.
So if we ever wanted to have, like, Caboose or Tucker in the shot, like in the initial when he first fades in, we had to, you know, set up the shot the way we wanted, but then Caboose and Tucker ended up transparent as well, so I had to paste them back in as being opaque. And we used a wipe to do that. Real simple, real guerrilla-type editing, you know, where you just get away with whatever you can get away with. I mean, I think I've used the word challenge about 1,000 times during this commentary. You know, challenge, and, you know, I think I'm starting to sound a little bit like Steve Ballmer. But what are you going to say? We did have some obstacles. We basically just had a great visual that was already laid out for us in this beautiful game, and we just had to milk as much as we could out of that. You know, that was the whole premise, was to see how much can we draw from this already existing environment, and, you know, in a way, you know, try to come up with something original.
Cool. What was that like?
It was cold.
That's it? Just cold?
What do you want from me? A poem?
This probably, introducing Sidewinder was probably the one thing that we did that was in response to emails.
Yes.
When the series started to get popular, and we always wanted the series to be popular, we just didn't expect it to be so fast.
Yeah.
And this episode, which is episode 10, about halfway through the series at this point, we had 5 main questions that were asked. How do you make the video, which there's no way to handle inside the actual episode. But they wanted to know, will text ever be in an episode?
Yeah.
They wanted to
Where the
know,
hell's text?
were we ever going to use another level?
Yeah.
And is Church going to come back?
Yeah.
Because as soon as Church died, people want to know if we were going to have him respawn.
And how do I get a hold of Griff's phone number?
Of course.
Because I'm a hot chick. Yeah.
I'm going to get down on one knee and ask her to marry me. And that's when Tex showed up.
You know, I like this episode because we were able for the first time to take 2 friends of ours and just plug them in just for an episode.
Right.
Which was our friend John and our friend Lance, who are great guys, that we finally had a position to just kind of throw them in. And they were very supportive to us, and when nobody else was watching the series. And we found an easy way to kind of help, you know, say thanks.
Yeah, Lance plays the unfortunate Private Mickey.
Yeah, Bloody Murder.
Yeah, Bloody Murder. And here's John right here playing poor Private Jimmy, who gets beat to death with his own skull.
Yeah, and John actually was with I guess at the beginning of this whole mess, which was a website called uglyinternet.com. John was a part of that website.
Yeah, you can explain that. That's a long
That's a long
explanation.
story. We won't get into it, but
Yeah, what it is, the Red versus Blue is really 2 different groups. It's a group of internet guys who are Gus, Jeff, basically what started as the Austin crew.
Gus and Jeff.
Gus, Jeff,
Kind of you.
well, Jason and John and those guys, and they worked on internet websites, and that failed miserably. And then there's the LA crew that worked on films
That nobody saw.
that failed miserably as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's two groups of people that failed miserably coming together to fail at the ultimate pinnacle of their careers. I guess.
There you go.
And here's more music that was done by Nico Grasshopper.
What a lifesaver he was. Added a whole new element to the series.
Well, we needed music, and nobody in our
needed
group
music
is
and
musically
the-
talented.
Well,
We have several guys that are in bands. That
Jason
suck,
and Dan would argue that, but to be honest, they really aren't talented.
but they would have nobody backing them
Yeah,
up. So.
nobody's gonna support that theory.
My excellent wrench Foley work there.
There you go.
I tell you, man. After about the 10th week of working on the series, when we could do something different, like Foley work with ratchets and things like that, that's fun stuff. When you can like break it up, and we only had, this is a feature length. I mean, the whole thing put together is about an hour and 25 minutes. 12 guys worked on it, and really, I mean, 8 of the 12 guys just did voice work.
Yeah.
So it's for a 6-month project, getting to feature length with really just 4 production guys. It's you do everything. We did the writing, we did the Foley work, it's just, when you find time, you just get it done. And even the, well, this is a bad example because we used the sound effects from the game engine, but a lot of the sound effects we had to replace because they didn't fit, they didn't fit, cinematically with it. I mean, they were good, but we just couldn't separate them from the game's background sounds. Like the birds chirping and all the other things. There was no way to punch them up individually, so we had to replace them. No, I mean, there's another challenge right there. We talked about the game engine. Those bullet holes, we could not get them to stay in place. They would fade out over time.
They disappear after a time.
However, if we made bullet holes by accident, they would stay forever.
Oh, yeah.
We had all sorts of theories, too. We never figured out what makes a bullet hole stay.
I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. We can never nail it down.
We didn't know if it was a time factor. We had theories that maybe if we made more bullet holes, that the game could only handle so many bullet holes at a time. And then if we would made a bunch more, it would erase other ones.
It's kind of a funny aside to talk about here, but it really was like hours and hours of sitting in here shooting stuff, shooting walls, trying to figure out the pattern, and we just never nailed it down. Very frustrating.
You see a little divot to the right there on that shot. The camera moves to the right. Every now and then you'll see us move the camera a little bit or do a little dip or something like that, and that's to avoid that idle animation that we talked about earlier. And also you'll see a lot of shots where the reticle in the center of the screen is red, because if we locked on to a character, then we wouldn't have the problem with the idle animation.
My biggest pet peeve in the whole series is showing up a lot right here, and that's grenades on the ground.
Oh, yeah?
It drives me crazy.
Well, there's another pet peeve in that shot that I have, which is how hard it is to make the character look like they're talking when they have anything besides the pistol in their hand.
A rifle or the flag.
Or the flag, yeah, it's tough. It's
Sniper rifle's bad.
Oh,
Hey-o.
there goes Tex.
There goes Tex.
Simmons, what's going on? What's over there?
I thought I saw something for a second.
Hey, rookie, tuck the flag someplace safe until we can figure out what's going on.
And Tex, there was a limitation on how long we could keep a character camouflage, so that was tough as well.
This almost sounds like a pity party.
Yeah, we're miserable.
Yeah. It was so hard to do what we did.
Yeah, we're grand geniuses.
What he fails to mention is that we were drunk through most of it. I'm drunk right now. And
There's something on your head.
Or just sitting around screaming at each
however,
other.
to continue the pity, talk about difficult. This was difficult. That grenade blows up after I think 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And we had that's like 30 shots right there.
Yeah, we looped it.
All looped together.
We actually had a production line of donuts here. We had like 40 donuts lined up in a row, like an assembly line, and we just had somebody at the front of the line throwing a grenade to the side of the donut's head, and then another one would step up, and we'd kill him, line up the next one, and just kept going on and on like that.
You're exaggerating. You can only have 16 characters in the game, so there could have been no more than 14, 15.
Jeff wasn't here for that part of this.
I was here. Everybody, there's a lot of controversy on the forums at that point that who was dead and who wasn't.
Yeah.
People were convinced that Simmons and Griff died, or one of the two died.
The entire red team was dead.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I guess that they thought maybe we would end the series immediately.
Yeah.
It-
Blue wins.
Yeah. I think
From that point on, it'd be dark blue versus light blue.
Right.
It definitely seems like your
Simmons
team
versus the
search
world.
is starting to work out for us. You think so? You know, I was gonna say something, but
I like listening to you trail off there. I think that was funny.
That was my fourth makers. I just finished. And,
You know, we cheated a lot of that stuff with the scopes of the sniper rifle, where you know we would just show the sniper rifle, and there's no way to get that view. We're actually like halfway across the map to actually get the shot, but we made it feel like it's all the way across the map, and the sniper rifles can actually see farther than they can.
it's Church.
whatever.
Yeah, it's me. Hey, Caboose.
Hey, Church. What are you up to?
Caboose. I'm not
Church
really
was very
your big
bemused
phone
by
dog,
Caboose there.
okay?
Yeah,
Like that.
He suddenly is a good-natured ghost.
yes, he is.
Oh,
Church the
that's
friendly
right.
ghost.
We've always had that.
Tucker, who do you think you're trying to fool?
Where is
Hey,
Tex?
wait a second.
This was one of the episodes I think where we had some trends in our own episodes where some like the even numbered episodes were always more popular than the odd numbered episodes. We never figured out why.
Oh, because they were better.
And then we even ended up on we ended the series on an odd episode. I remember there was some debate whether we're gonna do that, but this was one of those episodes where we had a specific storyline in mind. And the Red vs. Blue, the season 1 storyline, there definitely like several arcs. There's the intro arc, which lasts the first 3 episodes. Then there's the Donut stealing the flag arc that lasts from episode 3 to the one we just finished. Then there's the kind of the middle area where there's the Tex saga, where the whole thing with Tex and Church, which then carries you through to the end of the series, where then we wrap everything up. So this one was one where we had to intro the whole Tex thing, but we had the audience used to like an encapsulated 4-minute episode where we could get it done quickly. So this one we had to jam a bunch of stuff in. It was actually 2 episodes,
Yeah.
but we combined it into one because the intro episode of Tex just didn't have that much to it.
Yeah.
It was not enough to carry a full episode. So that was tough, man. It was tough to figure out where to end these episodes.
knocked me out.
In fact, we changed some stuff around in the storyline to make it an encapsulated episode.
Just go find
You
Sarge.
know, make
We
it
gotta
fit
get
in a
Donut out of
5-minute, weekly video.
here. Sure. Oh, and I'm fine, by the way. Thanks for asking. Whatever. No one likes you anyway.
And of course, the question is always, why not just pull the trigger?
We're dead. Captured or dead. Or captured and dead.
Oh, well, that's just perfect.
What? What is your problem? Why do you even care if he's captured? I thought you hated that guy anyway.
And I think one of the reasons also we did it was that we pushed with this the twist, of Tex being a woman, was that
The secret's revealed right here.
yeah, well, it was a lot of people figured it out beforehand.
Some people figured it out.
It's tough to have a twist in something that's a serial piece because
You give them 7 days to figure it out.
yeah, they had 7 days to figure it out. You had to leave clues and things like that. And maybe if we went straight through in 30 minutes and told the story, we could have it could have been a bigger twist and maybe a better surprise. But it was tough. We certainly won't try anything like that. I don't think again.
No, I
try to
don't think
hide
so.
something.
Yeah.
Aha! I knew it. Only a tricky
I'd like to point out that I emulate, or I sympathize with Griff's statement there. Women can give you big headaches.
The guy that showed up here,
Spoken like a true married man.
the shit out of us, shot at Caboose and beat the hell out of the Reds wasn't a guy.
Some of the transitions are more cinematic, I think, lend themselves better. And something we'll work on for season 2 where, like there it went from Reds and went over back to the Blue Base. And, a lot of times when we continue the story week to week, we end up on the same base because you go from base to base with the plot being driven.
Right.
But in this case, as we got later into the series, we went back and forth a lot more because we were, going towards a goal towards the end.
Part shark.
I'm pretty sure I would know if Tex was a guy.
I like to hear things like the part shark thing, where there were certain things that the viewers latched onto, like the Puma thing they all latched onto.
Yeah.
There was we did a series of public service announcements where the actors from Blood Gulch would do like those NBC The More You Know type things where they'd come on and tell you how to live your life and be pompous assholes.
Right.
And there was one in there that we had where we referenced a doodle that somebody made, an octopus flipping off somebody else off 8 times that Tucker made. And we got probably more fan submissions of that than anything else, where people would draw this octopus flipping you off 8 times. It's probably my favorite thing. I have like 40 of them as my desktop.
I'm gonna give you a little hint here. I think we're gonna make T-shirts out of an octopus now.
Yeah, we gotta find our favorite drawing and talk
Yeah.
to the viewer that submitted it and make some T-shirts. I like that you say the word hint when you instead of like sales pitch. That's
Sales
fun.
pitch.
Let's move on.
Seriously though, octopus on a T-shirt, you gotta buy it.
Program in her head.
Please.
There'll be an order form at the end of the DVD.
Yeah. My children have to go to college someday.
Oh, hell no. She's always been a rotten bitch.
Yeah, the way we did that this series, it's probably a good chance to talk about that. People always ask us about the money aspect of this, and that is, we came up with we kind of banked on people's impatience, where we gave the videos in a higher resolution. We put them out on Fridays as opposed to Sundays. We gave them to our sponsors, and then we gave away the DVD as a gift to the sponsors, people who donated money to the website. But biggest cost of this, more than the the computers, more than the Xboxes and things like that, was the bandwidth costs. I mean, we had. It just picked up an enormous amount. I think by the third month we were doing this, we did about 17 terabytes.
Yeah.
Of data,
That
which is 17,000 gigabytes
And we
transferred.
we really kind of quit watching it after that.
The traffic,
Yeah, we just
not the series.
Too much to keep it. I don't watch the series. But that's a different story.
Yeah, but it was it's just serving all of this is just it's so hard. It's tough to find the bandwidth to do it. We actually had discussions like is it possible to do this episode in 4 minutes as opposed to 5, just to keep the file sizes down?
Yeah.
And we had to archive all the episodes and things like that. So it was finding a way to pay for the website was a tough deal.
And at this point, I guess we should say we can't say thank you enough to Nick and O1 Communications for helping us out.
We had a company out in Sacramento, California, named O1 Communications, O1.com, and they donated an enormous amount of bandwidth to us. At the very beginning of the series, and we supplemented that with some other stuff later as it became more and more popular. But for season 2, luckily, hopefully we'll be able to start paying them back for some of that. For doing all that. But they're a great company. If you have to host anything, we cannot say enough good things about them. And of course, all of our sponsors who helped us, all the fans.
The series wouldn't still be
money.
here if it wasn't for the sponsors.
I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that. But you had to make a choice, and one of the things we always looked at when we started doing this, we looked at the guys who did Penny Arcade, who we referenced in the tattoo thing, and we looked at the guys who were doing Homestar Runner.
Big fans of both, by the way.
Huge fans of both.
Yeah.
And we look at these guys; they can serve these huge things. Homestar Runner does a Flash cartoon, which is probably 200K.
Yeah, something
a
like
week.
It's really small.
Yeah, the file size, not the site. The site's enormous, and tons of people go to it. We looked at the way they were doing it, and they seem to be guys, similar mindset to us, where they didn't want to run ads. They want to do stuff. They supported their whole site just with T-shirts. So we figured, if they can do it that way, let's give it a shot and try to do it the same way. And so we decided to do it just with sponsorships and with T-shirts, and it worked out well.
It did work out well.
Yeah.
We got lucky too.
Get your ass up here.
That's right. Got lucky. We did a bunch of sites before this, video game sites and things like that just for whatever reason didn't catch on.
Or they had their own followings, but they certainly didn't have any kind of a mass appeal. Yeah.
The enormity that this
Tucker,
had.
come in, man. You there? This is Church. It's working. The orange one
Sexy,
is coming
sexy
out
orange.
That's where Church refers to Griff as the orange one. And we got a lot of email about that. There's lots of people that insist on telling us that Griff was yellow and not orange. And I took offense at that.
Griff is orange.
Griff is most definitely orange.
What? I missed that.
And I don't know if you can see it back there, but like way off in the background, you can see Church up on the ledge as Tucker turns around and talks to him there. And it's one of the few instances where Church is far enough away to where we can have him in the shot and not make him opaque.
Yeah.
No, you can't talk to him. How could you possibly talk to him on my headset?
And you can actually get a feel too for how much longer the episodes got, because I think like the first 12 episodes take up half the DVD, and the last, the last 6 or 7 take up, the other half of the DVD.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got the episodes got longer and longer as we went along.
They can still see you. They can't see me. I can't see them. That's because your face.
I remember this being particularly difficult for some reason. Tucker and Caboose around that rock took forever to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably was just late night.
Special ops. I've seen troop movements coordinated since my days on site. When kick a
I
hair,
never get sick of hearing Sarge say that.
I mean, it was funny too because you say to Matt, you say, "Hey, I need you to make a possession noise," and Matt, I think we had like 3 or 4 ones, and that was Kika Herger was the best one.
That's real rewarding. Hey, what'd I tell you about that?
And remember, this was a big debate too.
Whether we should have you do the lines or him.
Do we have Church's voice talking as Sarge, or do we have Sarge talking like Church?
And we recorded it as both. But
Yeah,
I think,
we tried it
it
both
just
ways.
made more sense as Church. And plus, you kind of an egomaniac.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any chance I get to have more lines, I'll do. No, but the thing was that in the end,
Hey, Tucker.
Made it
Church
easier to
trying to have
understand.
a southern accent sounded better than Sarge trying to have a southern accent and not having it to sound like Church was
Yeah.
too much. It was too much layered on top of so much else.
Go hide behind another rock.
What's up, yo?
Hey, man. What's up, yo?
I hate that shot.
Hey. What's going on out there, sir?
What the? Why, nothing. Why would you ask if something's wrong?
Yeah, the shotguns are always tough, when you
It's
gotta have the
tough to
weapons
talk
out and
with,
talk.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You're starting to act
Especially you have to when you cut to a shot like with Simmons and Tex there,
Sarge, I'm starting to think that
you have to do some kind of motion to indicate who's talking. Otherwise, people, even though you're used to this point by the characters' voices, people just can't. They need to see the motion in order to know who's talking.
Yeah.
Even if it's something as simple as a turn or a walking forward, people will associate the voice on screen with whoever's moving at that point in time.
Who spit on my visor?
Tex, there's not much time.
And this is an example of the voice acting is that Matt with the noises from being possessed, they became so synonymous even just after the second time with him being possessed that I didn't even need to show the third possession. All I needed to do was do it off screen, and it actually was a much funnier effect.
I think this is our first ever nod to another
No, it pretty much all makes
product
sense.
here as well. We have a Star Wars nod coming up.
Yeah, this is an intentional reference. The when he comes in here and
Pretty obvious.
she says you're not tall enough to be to be Sarge. Or it's a reference when Luke Skywalker comes in. It's a Star Wars reference.
To rescue Leia, yeah.
I'm going to shoot him.
Essentially, we're nerds.
Caboose is a great delivery here.
And now we're old nerds. I mean, if you make a Star Wars reference, like an original Star Wars reference,
Yeah, like episode 4.
I mean, you're an old nerd, which
You're
is
pretty old. I saw episode 4 in the theater,
I saw episode 4 in the theater as well.
and not the re-release.
This is not good to talk about.
No,
this.
it's,
We're gonna be
our sex appeal's going down 12%.
All right, I'll make one more distraction. Then you run up to
That puts
the
us at negative
teleporter.
6%.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. What the? Where did my body go? Oh, you gotta be
And we-
kidding me!
This episode here was, I mean, we came up with this like on Monday, and when we released episodes on Friday, and said, hey, let's try something really different. Let's try Church and Sarge in like the spirit world, and
afterlife.
we wanted to play with the environment a little more. And so, the way we did this was just by muting the color and trying some different sound effects and
Took
things like that.
forever to get the right filter for the voice. I remember.
Yeah, we worked on the filter for the voices for a long time. And I'm proud to say the wind noise that you hear,
Yeah.
it's me.
Is that you?
I'll do it right now. Wait, I can't do it. I had too much whiskey. But it would have been great.
They should put some sort of a warning on bottles of Jack Daniels and makers that whiskey impairs wind noise.
The heaven jokes too are kind of a reference to a film that Matt and I worked on called The Schedule, where we made the heaven and hell jokes. And the heaven and hell jokes we made in there were that the hell's a lot like heaven, just like a lot worse parking, and that's all there is to it. So, same joke. That was actually, I guess you could say, an inside joke, but it's really just reused
Yeah.
because
But funny this time.
yeah, but funny, and people saw it.
Yeah, join the freaking club. I get shot by my own tank.
Target locked.
Oh, haha, very funny, Sheila. Shut up.
And this was kind of a play on an idea that we kind of used up here, where we were gonna have Church in a ghost Sheila tank, where later on we were gonna bring Church back as a ghost, but then we were also gonna bring Sheila back as a ghost. But we couldn't figure out a way to make it fit in. It was funny, so we said put it in here.
I always thought it was really sweet that that I cared that Sarge lived because he hates me so much.
It was also a chance to have a turning point here,
Yeah.
where we were gonna have Sarge suddenly like Griff, but
We couldn't do it.
too big of a leap.
Yeah, it's too.
Gives you mouth to mouth. I'm leaving.
Maybe you should give him mouth to mouth.
I'm leaving.
I can't believe how hard they're trying to save me.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, my team did it, but why wouldn't yours?
I thought they didn't like me.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. I don't even know you. and Here
A lot of people couldn't follow the money jokes there.
They thought it was inconsistent.
They thought it was inconsistent.
We worked on continuity a lot. Like even in this episode when we had the tank going by in the background, it's different shots. The way we would shoot this is we would set up the shot on Sarge, and we would shoot all of Sarge's stuff, then go back and shoot all of Church's stuff as well. And really, when I talk about shooting it, really what it is me lining up the cameraman, and Jeff here is working the characters, and we would have help from sometimes Dan and sometimes Poop from Jason, who played Tucker. And, we just go through and shoot with them and do it that way. Here's an instance where I had to walk up a hill and walk down a hill, and I would have liked to have had a flying camera in this instance. It would have helped a bunch, but just in the Xbox, you couldn't have a flying camera. Typically, a lot of this machinima stuff is not done on a console. Typically, what you'll see is really the big engine is Quake.
Yeah.
And I think the next one will probably be Half-Life 2, which was just stolen. Big news development just in the last 2 weeks. Somebody hacked in and got the source code for it.
Thanks, by the way. I can't play it now till April.
How about the fact that we can't even start looking at developing another project that's done in Half-Life 2 now because of that?
Because that was something we were looking at.
Yeah,
that's
we
a good
were.
point.
And,
now we have to wait another 6 months or something.
Right. And so we'll see what happens there. But it's it's one of these a lot of these people who do machinima projects, they you wait on the next big game engine. It's like the next big development is like a new shot technique or something like that in the real film world in machinima. I shouldn't call it real film. It kind of diminutizes machinima.
It's honest.
Yeah.
True.
But it in the machinima, you just wait for a new tool to come out or something like that, and it really helps you do some things that you just can't do even creatively in the existing game engines.
It's a little Griff. You want to help me out here?
It's pink. Your armor is freaking pink.
And here is the appearance of Donut's pink armor, originally slated to happen probably episode 3.
A little later than that.
Episode 3 or 4. I mean, like when we first started. I'm talking. We did the trailer for Blood Gulch Chronicles. We did that 6 months before we did the first episode. In fact, we gave up on the series. We did the trailer, and then stopped. And Drunk Gamers, the website it was made for, went under. And then we just sat around waiting.
I wouldn't say it went under. I'd say it retired.
I would say it retired. Yeah. Kind of like when people are drowning, and they retire
to the afterlife. Yeah.
Hello to you, madam.
And I tell you what, this was writing wise. We made some pretty conscious decisions. Like, I don't know if you noticed or not watching the series, but we stopped doing vulgarity. What? Episode 6? Episode 7?
No, it was a little later than that.
Yeah, but it was something I talked about a long time, and with Jeff and Gus, when we even first started, trying to limit the vulgarity in the series, just because younger audience and things like that.
It limits your audience.
You don't need to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you
look
can
at
be funny.
Homestar Runner is a prime example.
Right.
You'll never see vulgarity in their episodes, and they're phenomenal every week.
Yeah, it's just they have a tremendous style, and that's what carries you week to week.
Yeah.
And we just don't need it. You don't need to do it. And like here with the pink armor, obviously there are some really dumb jokes you can make. With the whole pink armor thing. It's just why make them? If you don't, I mean, we can make it funny without doing stupid stuff and really, immature stuff.
Urban legend they used to sell those stupid bracelets.
I mean, we can do enough immature, stupid jokes as it is, but you can stay away from certain kinds of humor. I think.
Sir, I won't say I told you so, sir.
This weapon that Sarge has here, that's the speech unit for Lopez, which there's two alien weapons. There's a pistol and a huge rifle. And I just thought it would be funny to have the huge rifle, which can't possibly fit inside of Lopez's head, and just holding that up there like we're gonna stick this thing in his head.
I'd also like to take complete credit for the idea of Lopez being a robot.
Yes. Is it you?
That
was it you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. By a little bit, I mean all.
We were going to. We were just gonna leave him as just a guy, and
well, he was gonna be Mexican the entire time, I think.
Yeah.
Well, hence the name Lopez.
Yes.
And the Tejana music.
But the idea that when Jeff wanted to make him a robot, and then I thought, well, it'd be funny if we, can we make him a robot? It was Matt's idea to make Tex a woman too.
Yes, it was.
And you get that idea and you think, okay, well, what can we do with it? And we came up with a twist of making Church and Tex having some kind of history together, and then with Lopez making him a Spanish robot and actually stuck on the Spanish setting. And that's how we established it. It was here. Sarge shorts him out, and he can only speak in Spanish.
I remember there was some controversy over whether we would use the wristband joke or not? We didn't know if people would get it. The static band.
Yeah, but I mean, the audience is primarily, tech kids and things like that. So
You did a good job with the Spanish, by the way.
come on. Most of the Spanish is I take the lines that we write and I pump them into one of those online translators and just read it, out of there, and hopefully I can get it right.
He reads it about 4,000 times.
This episode's not so much, but when I worked with Gus later and we actually worked with the Spanish lines, it worked out a lot better.
Well, this is
And that's me as the voice of Lopez, by the way.
Lopez. How do we...
And this actually turned out pretty funny because the Babblefish, or the online translator, spit out a version of Spanish that is kind of like a gringo version of Spanish. It's
Yeah.
like
It's kinda
like
fits with
Spanglish, yeah.
Lopez, would you like to shoot Griff? Si, senor. Gracias.
And I like that Sarge is like the guy who who talks slow and loud, hoping that Lopez will understand him.
I saved you from a life of imprisonment. How the hell are you square with me?
Because I didn't kill you.
You know, I don't
And as we
know
got towards the end of the series, there was lots of stuff we were doing. Like we were gearing up for the DVD, we were trying to wrap stuff up, we were trying to, doing a lot of housework on the website. And I think as a result, we lost some things that I would have liked to have done. Like the first shot of Lopez wanted to do through his visor, like a first-person point of view, with the TV screen effect, and then have an SAP up in the corner, like in
Right.
green letters, like emblazoned over it. I thought that would have been a great joke, but
We never got to.
just didn't have time. I literally didn't have time.
but nothing.
We kind of got involved especially towards episode 10 and on. We were doing film festivals and things like that. We actually were able to go to those things. We're lucky enough to be invited to some stuff, but it just took up a lot of time.
It really cut into our production time.
It did.
It made it
and
a lot more difficult. So we had to. We ended up cutting a little bit.
We did. But then we also, we ended up making extra videos for appearances and things like
Yeah.
that. And we were able to release those as well. But we definitely learned some lessons. It's especially as the series got more popular. I think we did some things. We tried to do more interviews, and it just took some time away from it. And I think towards the end of the series, we said, look, all these things are great. It's great to do interviews, great to go to film festivals, but we're in production, and we need to concentrate on the production of the episodes, and that's going to help us a lot more in season 2. I think we're over the whole, hey, aren't we great, internet phenomenon kind of a thing. At least I feel that way, don't you? And we're more into making the episodes again like we were earlier on.
I agree, 100%. Yeah. It's tough to find a balance.
I'm from Iowa.
And plus, I'll tell you, man, I'll be perfectly honest. 6 months straight, week after week, of making these things straight. I mean, we really needed a break.
We did need a break.
We did need a break between season 1 and season 2.
People don't realize it, but we both work 45-hour-a-week jobs, and then we sit down and spend 30 to 40 hours a week on RedVsBlue as well.
Yeah.
It wears you out.
It does. But
In a good way.
I certainly wouldn't feel sorry for us. I don't expect anyone else to.
This was the hardest shot we ever did, and
Yeah.
we got it first try. There were so many things going on at once there.
Yeah, people, multiple people moving is always tough.
I'll keep an eye on the
I think there was one that was tougher. It's coming up pretty soon where we had you had people setting down controllers, picking up another controller, and moving from controller to controller.
I remember the trouble with that is we just, for some reason, we all of a sudden couldn't flip the tank anymore. And it took us forever to flip it, and we knew it would be difficult to flip again. And then we had to have one guy talk, turn, flip, and then another guy talking in the foreground. And,
Yeah.
Good one, sir.
Seriously,
pain in the ass.
you don't know what it means, do you?
No.
Caboose, just stay here, man, and try
That's
to
where we started
control
using the
your
pistol as a
tongue.
welding torch.
There you go.
We tried,
Watch the red base and tell us if you see any movement.
Here's a joke that nobody got.
Suppose if you're helping us, you're not as mean as I thought.
Is that these shots are also carefully set up, and I thought, I can make this funny joke where
Well, I think it's
Tucker
important
asked about
to know
Caboose
what
here,
to do.
and Caboose is watching red base, but you turn and look, and he's watching his own base,
Yeah,
where
nobody
nobody is.
picked
He's
up on
watching
that.
blue base there, and it's
It's
less,
hard to tell.
I guess it is. But I thought it was very funny that Caboose would sit there and watch his own base instead of red base.
Or should we start talking
You should laugh now, though.
Yeah, I don't
No,
want to talk
no,
about
that's-
it.
Yes, now that you know it's funny, now feel free to laugh.
What?
What the hell is my body still doing up here?
That's part of being dead, Church. Your body doesn't really move around much anymore. Maybe
You
you
got a
haven't
point.
fully grasped the concept yet.
Now, Jason
Why in the
and
hell
Gus,
haven't
for
you
some
buried
reason,
my body yet?
as the series started to take off,
With what?
a couple of guys thought it would be a great idea to move out of the city where we make the videos.
Yeah. Hey, we're getting popular. Let's leave.
Let's get out of here. So Tucker about halfway through the series, he no longer recorded in the studio, if you will, with us. He was recording over the phone like everybody else, so his voice quality changed a little bit. In fact, there's one episode where he's played by his brother.
I guess we passed that up already.
Yeah, there was
totally missed it.
It was I can't remember the exact episode, but it was what happened was it was the day we were going to do the recording, and there was a huge blackout in New York where he had moved to. And we couldn't get hold of him. There was no way to get him on cell phone or anything like that because it was all jammed. So we had to use his little brother to do the voice work that day.
It was actually better. Just kidding.
It was something very easy to do.
No one noticed though, which I was really happy with.
Yeah.
Did a good job. Which is weird because in the later episodes, I think the last 4 episodes, there were complaints on a different character every episode sounding different. I never got.
Well, you know what?
That.
I think that's our area that we can improve the greatest in. Is sound
quality.
I really do, because I think that the mixing of the sound and things like that, it's somewhere where we can get better. Even if you hear though on episode 1 where we did the left channel right channel stuff instead of like the actual audio mixing, I mean it's full left or full right, and we left it that way. We thought about changing it for the DVD, but it's kind of let's leave it the way it was. It's kind of I kind of hate to mess with it because we're not going to be able to archive it on the internet indefinitely. So the only way to really do that is on the DVD. So we decided to leave it that way, and we've increased technically our aptitude over the course of the series, and I think we'll only get better as we go forward.
Why are they flying around in circles?
Oh, God. Okay, I'll go again. I spy something that begins with...
By the way, this is my favorite part of the series.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's just I don't know why. It's just I think it's very typical of my friendship with Gus. And plus, I went on a lot of road trips as a kid and played I Spy.
I Spy.
She said it's going pretty well. The gun's on
This shot right here is done by Caboose is standing underneath the cameraman. Remember, you could jump one character on top of another. That's how we got up high like that. We actually stood Caboose back there and then stood the cameraman on his shoulders.
Not a good thing. As soon as we beat the Reds...
I remember how happy I was about this shot because I'm thinking this is going to be one of the last times I ever make Church transparent.
It was exciting.
Very happy about that.
And if I don't get it out before she leaves...
If she leaves, you won't ever find her again.
Right.
So what are you gonna do?
And Church always had the lines where the ones that drove the series because they were the most boring lines. You had to somehow push along the plot. It was always that battle we always talked about, Jeff, where we had to either push the plot along or make jokes.
Yeah.
Or we having these little segments that were just their own freestanding jokes. And we had some episodes that were just like that. Like episode 2, nothing happens, but it's just a whole concept and one episode built around that single concept. And so Church, had to quickly drive the story along, so I'd give myself those lines just because, we had to cut them here or there or change them up just so they weren't so boring.
No. They have a girl. They have a girl. A what?
Everybody gets the sniper rifle but Tucker.
Look.
Poor
They
guy.
blame her.
Poor guy.
Oh man, how come they get a girl?
You guys realize that I'm a chick, right? And that I'm
I like that the
independent,
Tex,
right?
as tough as Tex is, she would actually be offended that, she's
Yeah.
not considered a real girl.
Girl.
And what the hell does that mean?
Nothing. Wait a second.
Here's one of the ones that we cut. At the end of the episodes, we would sometimes have this running joke where we'd fade to black and it would say, "Come visit RedVsBlue for more episodes," and we'd have dialogue going into black, like Charge's Chupa thingy joke that in episode 2 that we actually went back and shot extra footage for. But like here, Caboose has this long line about Tex being able to read his mind. It was funny in the episode, but it didn't really fit for the DVD, for the full-length thing, so we ended up cutting it out. And hopefully people have it archived on their hard drives some places, because you won't be able to find it anywhere after that.
Hey, that's familiar.
Reuse the shot. In fact, you see there's a blue base logo right there. I thought it was funny because, we go back to episode 19, we're at the very last episode. I thought, screw it, let's use the same shot. It's kind of funny.
Hey, you go, Kurgurk.
What's wrong with Lopez?
I don't care.
Hey, Lopez, you okay, man?
Ay, muchachos, necesite darle una piso.
We decided to go with subtitles here because, well, I thought it was funny. I thought, it'd be funny for people to just kind of get the Spanish. We actually had some jokes in here that I thought were necessary to have subtitles for.
Yeah.
Oh crap. Caboose. She's almost done.
There's a subtitle coming up. We did the Madre de Dios
What's going on?
in the Son of a Bitch. Caused a lot of controversy.
I don't controversy, just
Not
annoying
controversy,
email.
Annoying email. There you go.
That makes
It's controversial to me.
people weren't sure if we were aware that Madre de Dios actually didn't mean son of a bitch.
We know it means that. It doesn't.
This is your close personal friend, Private O'Malley.
Hey,
O'Malley?
Private who?
You said your name was Caboose.
I never said that. You guys
I
did.
actually thought a long time for the intro, the new intro. Did we want to call him Caboose in the intro or O'Malley?
In Private Church. Do you copy? Soldier Unit Tex almost has the armor vehicle situation rectified. Okay, we require verification of your mission-ness. How is your progression?
The way we did the radio stuff was we just there's a websites all over the net where you can just go and punch in sounds you want. You punch in like, radio sounds or something like that and get static and get wave files that come back almost like a Google search engine for sounds. One of them is findsounds.com. And went and punched there, but usually all you get when you do that is you just get a bunch of sounds that are kind of like what you want and nothing even close. So when it comes down to it, you just have to do your own Foley work and go back through and just record off the radio, put static in your car and stuff like that. So a lot of my time was spent walking around with my video camera and a microphone, just recording sounds that we needed.
Well, that's a nice
It's fun.
change of pace.
Simmons, I'm coming around in the Warthog. Get ready to take the
That's a nice
character that you
dynamic
want
shot
on.
that's in the game engine. That's the camera angle that you get that follows the character. If you set the respawn times very, very long, and
Yeah.
you'll notice in that shot there's no reticle either.
You
Because
also
the
notice,
character's dead.
if you look real quickly, Simmons is red there. It's not maroon.
Yeah, that's a cheat right there.
Yeah.
Simmons had to be red because, but it's an easy cheat for Simmons. Simmons changing Simmons to a red character instead of maroon. Here's a shot where you can see Simmons is maroon and Sarge is quite obviously red. But, in a faraway shot, nobody can tell. And the reason we had to do that, of course, was to get them both in the Warthog at the same time.
Hey, what are you guys doing up here? That chick in the black armor's back. What chick?
We're going to end the episode with like lots of different shots from the early ones. Like we had the episode 1 shot where they come up the wall. You have the Warthog driving in the Warthog, and then you have the shots of them talking while the tank is shooting at them. It was kind of like it was supposed to be kind of like a walk down memory lane for the whole season, to set it back up again. And even you get Donut's revenge. Another mouth sound effect here, like the wind. This is me making the hissing noise with my mouth. I'm just literally going. Psst.
Man, that girl's got a really good arm.
Oh, crap.
I love that it sounds so bad to me. That is-
This is the first time we ever used echo in the Blood Gulch.
No, we use it in PSA number 1.
We did?
When he says, "Almost got you that time, chump."
I don't remember that.
To fight the enemy
Yes,
head
ma'am.
on in hand-to-hand combat. Mano y mano.
I think something Matt did that was great with this part was that just the wistfulness of Sarge sometimes, the way he talks about stuff.
Understood a word you said.
It's like the old vets, that you always talk to, like how great the military was. And they talk about things very, dramatically and things like that. I think Matt did a great job with that.
I hope to be one of those guys someday. Sitting at the VFW drinking the Dollar Lone Stars.
Shouldn't we help him?
Nah, that would just ruin the moment.
So we finally have an evening of the sides here. Because now you're down to 4 people per team, really. If Tex lives or dies, which I guess you'll have to wait for season 2 to see.
Crap. Church is going to be pissed, and now he's got a body.
But even if Tex doesn't live, we now have Caboose, who is technically now, I guess, 2 characters, huh? O'Malley
There
and
you go.
Caboose.
My name isn't Caboose. My name is O'Malley.
Well, that does it. That is season 1 of the Blood Gulch Chronicles. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you, maybe learned a little bit about Blood Gulch Chronicles and a lot about yourselves.
I hope you don't hate it now after listening to the commentary.
Yeah, the idiots that made it. Here's the voices behind the voices. One of the things what we always laughed about is we get email that said, "Hey, I really like your web series. You guys should get some adults to do your voices." So we're looking into that for next season.
Yeah. And for posterity's sake, I didn't finish the Bottle Makers.
Well, we want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks for getting the DVD.
Hope you watch season 2.
And yeah, hope you come back for season 2. And last group of people we want to thank is, as always, want to thank the sponsors of the website who help sponsor RedVsBlue, which is at RedVsBlue.com. Most importantly, we want to thank Bungie, the guys that developed Halo. This everything you saw today came out of their beautiful game engine, and it's part of a huge part of what made Red vs. Blue a successful web series. Can't thank those guys enough.